I think I'm supposed to run through a tunnel now. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Minnesota Camper. I'm John Hanson. We are rolling on with our full day of Q&A sessions covering parts, service, sales, and financing. We had financing at 10 a.m., service coming up at noon, sales at 1. Right now, we're diving into the world of RV parts, upgrades, and the everyday must-haves that you are going to have when you are camping very, very smoothly. And joining us from Hilltop Camper and RV's parts store in Fridley is Jake Young. You can send in your questions at any time. We're going to cover as many as possible, and we've also got some great ones that were submitted early. So without further ado, Jake, it is great to have you on the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Jake is a man that has done it all. He has worked in every single part of Hilltop Camper and RV, from service to sales, finds himself in parts now. So I always recommend, I always talk about, and I'm going to blow smoke at Jake right now because he's awesome, man. He's an awesome resource to have in our building. And I always tell folks that when you go to our parts stores, and in Fridley, for instance, where he works, we have the biggest parts store in the state of Minnesota. Can you buy parts at other places? Can you buy parts at Fleet Farm or what? Yes, you can. Are they cheaper? Sometimes. But RVs are special, man. You need real expertise when it comes to buying parts, and you get that at our stores at Hilltop, starting with Jake. So there's that. Jake, you ready for some questions, man?
I'm ready.
All right. We have got the ability to ask your questions. Just ask your questions in the comment section, but we do have some that came early. So let's fire away with the questions for Jake. First question is, what makes sense to buy for my RV at this time of year? Yeah, we're heading into that time. We probably are in that time now where camping is pretty well subsided. So what are you buying now?
Yes, what people are buying now is obviously antifreeze. That's a big one right now to get the camper winterized for this cold season. Definitely want to do that. A lot of mouse-proof things, mouse mix. There's other things out there, but keep the rodents out of the camper. They do a lot of damage if they come in there. So we're selling a lot of mouse-proof things. Also, a lot of covers for your camper. Not something you absolutely need to cover the camper. Benefits on a cover is, it's going to protect the seals on the roof just from sun damage or all that weather. Also, just keeping the graphics, the decals, everything looking nice on the outside of the camper. So a lot of covers. And then wheel covers also, another thing. Even if you don't get a whole cover for the camper, the wheel covers are a huge deal. Again, keeps the weather off them so they don't get dry, rotted, or cracked, to protect your tires.
Okay, very good. Let's go on to the next one, which is a little bit along these lines. I guess it is getting to be that time of year. What's a good gift to get an RV owner?
Ooh, that's a good one there. A good gift for an RV owner. Simple things. There's your fun stuff, your awning lights, your awning rugs to put underneath the awning. Or just something practical they can use while they're camping. Something like Lynx levelers, things to level the camper with. That's always a nice gift. Something that you don't always think about. Even just a surge guard, something that maybe not super fun, but it's going to protect your camper. So that'd be a good gift for me. Something that will protect my camper in the long run. So you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, mouse mix, maybe not. I mean, it's not. I mean, you wouldn't. Santa comes to your house. Yeah, Santa comes to your house. You see the nice gift under the tree. You open it up, and it's mouse mix. probably not getting super excited about
Yep.
that one. All right. And again, if you got questions, feel free to ask them. We got some more here. Do you offer financing? This we just had Dustin on this
Yep.
last hour from our business office. Maybe a better question for him. I don't know if you can answer this one, but do you offer
Yeah, so a
financing
little
for?
bit. So over the counter items, we don't offer financing, but what a lot of people do is when they're buying a new camper, some of the more spendy parts like an equalizer hitch or maybe a slide out awning. A lot of times we can add that into your deal, which is then added into the financing process. So yes, if you're buying a camper from us, you can add that into your financing with Dustin. But over the counter parts, no, that is just pay for it then right there.
Okay. And we do, as I mentioned in Fridley, have the biggest parts store in the state, but that doesn't mean we have everything. But I can tell you what we do have is the world's largest catalog that sits
Yes.
behind our desk. And this question might make sense for that. When we order out parts, how long do they take to get in?
Yeah, generally, we have 4 local suppliers we go from. We get trucks every single day. So if I don't have it here in store, I can usually get parts next day or within a couple days. Say we have to order the part from the manufacturer like Jayco or StarCraft. Sometimes that takes a week or two, but generally, probably 90% of the time, I can get the parts within a day or two.
Yeah, there was a day in which so this catalog's like this thick. I mean, it's
Yeah.
huge, right? And I really felt like I needed to buy a lottery ticket one day. I had a customer, I think, that was looking for some sort of like a cooler rack or something like that. I opened up this big book right to the page that the cooler rack was on,
Yep.
and I was like, "Wow, I need to buy the lottery ticket today," because that was quite a stroke of luck on that. I'll ask you the same question I asked Dustin. That's a little off the cuff here, and maybe put you on the spot a little bit, but what's something that you wish people knew when they entered the parts store? Um,
Ooh.
or what's
Something
what's
that,
what's one thing they should really know about their camper? Like if you're trying to help them,
yep.
it's certainly the better you know, the more you know about their camper, the better you can help them.
Yep.
What's the piece of information that they need to come equipped with in order to ask you all the detailed questions about how they can be helped?
Yeah, pretty much like you said, just what they have as a camper first off, because that can change on what they need or what really helps them. Something they wish they knew is or hope they would know is just general things too, like really what you need to get started, what you need for the towing aspect. I kind of like just when someone comes in the parts store, I act like they're brand new and just kind of tell them everything about what we recommend and what I think is going to help you with your towing, with hooking up at the campsite, making sure they know they have to get the camper winterized at the end of the year. So it's more maybe not what I wish they knew, is just I'm asking the questions to find out, maybe tell them something they don't know they need.
We're here to help everybody. One of the
Yeah.
coolest things that I've seen in my time at Hilltop was we had a customer one time. He came through the door and he said, I just bought this camper off the side of the road. Basically, somebody was selling it on the road and he bought it and he knew nothing about campers. And he came in and he said, "What do I do? What do I need?" I took him to you, and
Yep.
you rolled out the red carpet for this guy. You really helped him figure out everything that he needed to get rolling with this camper that he just bought off the side of the road. I mean, we'll help anybody. You don't need to buy it all from Hilltop or anything.
Correct. Yep, we're here to help. I'd love to sell you something, but here, no, we're here to answer the questions, make you have fun, and then hopefully you come back to us because we're here to help you out the whole time.
You mentioned those first time campers. Here's one for you. If I'm camping for the first time, what do I need to bring besides the camper
Yes. So
and
yeah, gotta
yourself,
have the
presumably?
yep, gotta have the camper. Bring yourself, bring the dog, have fun. But yeah, the main things like a sewer hose to dump everything, a water hose. We put together a nice big kit of kind of everything you need, so you can go to the campground and have everything. But the basics: sewer hose, water hose. Two things I recommend across the board is a surge guard and a water pressure regulator. That just protects your camper from power surges, too high water pressure. So those are things you're going to need. Also, something you might not absolutely need, but definitely comes in handy, is some leveling blocks. Instead of packing your camper full of wood to level the camper, there's nice leveling blocks so you can always keep the camper nice and level. So yeah, just your basic things like that. There's obviously fun accessories you can get, like the awning mats I mentioned, but mainly sewer hose, water hose, surge guard, water pressure regulator, toilet paper. There's special toilet paper for your toilets, the toilet chemical. So yeah, just normal things you might not think of that are going to make your camping a lot easier.
Poor Jake's heard my toilet story a million times, but yeah, one of the first times my wife and I went out camping, she bought a nice roll of Charmin, and I was like, I always say the story, I was like elbow deep in the toilet pulling that stuff out because
Yep, not
you got to
fun.
have special RV toilet paper, and that is
Yep.
part of that first time camper package, I do believe, right?
Yes. Yep.
And
Yep.
then the
Kind of
other
gives you
thing,
everything you need.
that you touched on it, the sewer hose. I think it would surprise people to know that when you buy a camper, the sewer hose does not come with it, whether it's a new camper or especially a used. You don't want somebody's used sewer hose.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so that's and those run about what 30 to $50 in that range.
Correct. Yep. There you got a range exactly right. $30 to $50. There's, they're all going to dump the same. There's just different quality hoses, something that's going to last longer, or something just to get you through for the season.
Okay. Next question. You talked about accessories. What's the latest, coolest RV accessory to come along?
Ooh, latest coolest RV accessory. So there's cool things. What I think is cool is something like the Starlink. It might not be just for your RV, but everyone's with the internet and the streaming. I think that's really cool. Um, there is the smart locks for your door instead of just having a key. Now you have a keypad or an app on your phone where you can walk up to the camper and unlock the camper. So that's kind of a fun accessory. There is, a bunch of different leveling accessories that I think are pretty cool. One thing is a smart lock that goes through to your tires. If you have a dual axle, you can lock the tires up in the middle to keep it nice and stable. Plus, it has a padlock on it, so it doubles as a security system. There definitely is a bunch of other things out there, but those are some fun things that I've noticed lately.
We do ship parts too to people, don't we?
We do. Yep.
Okay. So a lot of people might be at a permanent site or something like that, and we can ship our parts to them.
Exactly.
Here's about a specific part here. If I use standard 30 amp power, how many dog bones should I carry with me? And can you explain what those are? Because true story, this is, I always tell, I mean, I don't know. I'm going on almost 4 years now in the RV business. And when I started, I knew nothing.
Yep.
And I always joke, I say now I would know nothing plus 4 years because there's a ton to know, right? So
Correct.
if we were to, if this was a scale of how much Jake knows, Jake is way up here and I'm way down here. And that's why I'm asking the questions and he's answering them. But to show you how little I knew, when I started, the first time camper package comes with a dog bone, I do believe, or at least did then. I don't know if it still does, but
It still does. Yes.
still
Yep.
does. And I thought, well, what if you don't have a dog?
Yeah.
So could you explain those for maybe just me? What dog
Yes,
bones
so they
are?
call it a dog bone. It is pretty much an adapter. It's about 12 inches long. That's why they call it a dog bone. So if you have a 30 amp camper, you can get a dog bone adapter that plugs into your 30 amp power cord and then adapts your plug up to maybe a 50 amp outlet. Because you'll go to a campground, sometimes you only get a campsite with 50 amps and you're not going to be able to plug your 30 amp cord into that outlet. So you get the dog bone adapter that plugs into your cord and then adapts you up to 50. Or the opposite, you can get a dog bone adapter from your 30 amp that adapts you down to just a normal household outlet. So now I can plug in it at home or someone's cabin and get my battery charged. It gets lights going. So for 30 amps, I would say, two adapters. So you can have the 50 if ever needed, or you can adapt down to just a household outlet so you can plug in no matter where you're going.
We talked about that first time camper package, which is something you definitely want to consider because the
Yep.
stuff you're going to need anyway in that first trip. Two other expenses I always would tell customers that are looking to buy a camper that I say, if you're budgeting for a camper, and let's say you've got the top of your budget, well, that top of the budget has to include those other things that you're going to need to buy to actually get out camping. So that first time camper package, which is probably a very small percentage of that total number, but a little larger percentage of that total number is that weight distribution hitch or EQ hitch or equalizer hitch or sway bar, as some would call it. You referred to that a little bit earlier. The other one is the brake controller. Those are two things that you can get through our parts store, and nobody better to explain what those are and why you would need those. If you could do that, please, Jake. And the brake
Yeah.
controller is certainly required by law in the state of Minnesota with anything over 3,000 pounds that you're towing. So you're a great guy to explain that. So if you could explain it, fire away.
Yeah, correct. Brake controller again is something that's needed. Honestly, even if you have something lighter than 3,000 pounds, I would personally want a brake controller. What that does is pretty much, it connects into your vehicle, and then you plug the camper into your vehicle. So now when I'm stopping while I'm traveling with my camper, it applies brakes back to the camper. So everything stops nicely. It's not pushing or pulling you. You can adjust the brake controller so everything stops how it's supposed to. Again, recommended across the board, whether you have a camper that's lighter than 3,000 pounds, having a brake controller is going to, make your towing 10 times easier and also put less wear and tear on your tow vehicle. With the brake controller, there's wired in options that you can wire in directly to the vehicle, or there's also some cool Bluetooth options too. Instead of having something mounted to the dash of your vehicle, now I just have a Bluetooth that plugs into my 7-way on my vehicle. Either way, you're protected. You got the brakes. That's all that you need. And then with the equalizer hitch, that's something you don't absolutely need to have. Again, something you'll hear if you come into Hilltop. We recommend across the board in every department. You'll hear the same thing. What that does is just keep everything riding level. So your tow vehicle's level, your travel trailer is level, and then it has weight distribution. That's what keeps it level. And then sway control. That's a huge deal. So now I'm going 65 down the highway. Maybe it's a windy day, or I'm going by semi trucks. The trailer's going nice and straight. You never get the wag. Again, it makes your towing 10 times better. Something that I'm going to recommend no matter if you have a big diesel 350 truck with a small trailer. Doesn't matter what you're towing with, what you're towing. Recommend an equalizer hit all the time.
Yeah, you said you go around the building, everybody will recommend it, and some skeptics out there go, "Of course you do, because you're going to sell it to it." Yeah, we
Correct.
will.
Yep.
But it really is a safety thing, and I would add that if you ask any customer that has it, they would stand on a table and tell you
Yeah.
you need to get it too. And I've
Yeah.
had them. I've had veteran customers come in, they use it, and they're like, "Hey, you have somebody that doesn't want to use it, call me."
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. On the brake controller, can you explain how Hilltop can help you out if you don't know if you have all the wiring already on your car, which could save you a lot of money, which you might have the wiring necessary, and you might walk into our store not knowing if you have what you already need.
Correct. A lot of times we can just come out to your vehicle just because, our service guys are so good at what they do, or we know here in the parts store, we can just look at the vehicle, know what to look for, and say, yes, you have it. No, you don't. We also have a test box where we can test to make sure you have the correct wiring for it. So it's very easy. You could just pull on in the parking lot, come to the parts store. Even if you just wanted to know, you're not buying anything, I could easily come out there and let you know, like, yep, you have it, or this is what you need to get what you need to travel with. So yeah, definitely come on in and ask those questions.
Before we get to our last question, I want to mention that Jake does a lot of demonstrations on our YouTube page. And so if you're not liking and subscribing to that YouTube page, you really should be, because he does specific campers that we have. And if one of those campers that you have is he does a full demonstration, that's gold for you. Because if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you need some help in the middle of the night, Jake actually explains how you use every single thing on that camper. He's not just going to tell you we have a heater or air conditioner. He's going to show you how to use it. He might even be telling you about how to troubleshoot it. So if you do not have the specific campers, a lot of times that information is effective on similar campers and some that aren't even similar. You might have a completely different camper, but it might have the same kind of air conditioning mechanism or what have you. So we encourage you to go to our YouTube page and check out those great demonstrations that Jake and others from around Hilltop have been doing. And please like and subscribe to that page. Final question for you, Jake. We mentioned you worked all over the store. Oh, that's not the question. Where I have it. I don't have it. But here's the question that I was going to ask. I'm going to take that one away. Hold on. I'm new at this. You'll have to give me a real break. The question was, of all the different positions, what's been the most fun at Hilltop?
Ooh, yeah. I was in sales before. That was a bunch of fun. Can't complain there. But I do really like the parts store, and also kind of mix in with the parts store, the demonstration, showing people how to work their campers. I get to, help people find what they need. I get to talk to people all day long. I like to talk, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, I would say honestly, the parts store demonstrations, those are the most fun I've had because it changes up too. Not all the campers are the same. Not all the parts questions are the same. So I get a lot of different things during the day. So it keeps my day fun, and who knows what's going to happen.
And he's worked in the service department as well. So this is a guy who you can go to with your question. If you're in the parts store, he's probably going to have something to say to you about service too. So he's got
Yep.
it all. Jake, you're the best, man. You know that, and thank you so much. This full day of Q&As couldn't have happened without you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem. It was a bunch of fun. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, that is Jake Young joining us here at Hilltop Camper and RV, and we appreciate you joining us. Our next Q&A session is going to be service with Chris Edmond. Chris, if you don't know Chris, you probably haven't talked to me because I mention Chris every time I talk to anybody because he's the greatest RV technician in the United States, and he's going to join us in about 40 minutes here live on our YouTube and Facebook pages. 1 o'clock. Kevin Struess, our regional sales manager, is going to join us talking about RVs more from the sales perspective. If you missed Dustin Taylor, our business manager in our Fridley office, we have that archived on our YouTube and Facebook pages. He talked all about financing. And so if you have questions about that, they likely would be answered in that Q&A session from earlier today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you a little bit later with Chris Edmond from our service department.